Hello my friends, and welcome back to another video, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin. Today we are doing a reading vlog. I kind of want this to be the first in a series. I know there are so many book box subscriptions and I have subscribed to quite a few of them. Book of the Month, Aardvark, I'm doing Evernight now. I get a box of stories as well. So, and I know there's so many more out there, but I want to kind of focus on horror book boxes and like the horror books that come in them and try to read them and see if they're any good and just like kind of help motivate me to read them. And then also, and while I'm at it, I will be telling you if the books are any good and you can see if the subscription boxes are worth it or not. So I just thought this would be kind of like fun. Maybe it's not. So if you don't like it, maybe this will be a one and done video and I'll never do it again. But if you all seem interested, then I can keep doing it. And if you all start recommending book boxes to me, I can subscribe to them and they can be added to the series at a later date. The first book box we're going to do is a box of stories. Now, I am a rep for a box of stories, so I get these sent to me for free. I don't pay for these book boxes, and I do have a code, ERINBOOKS. You get a free tote with your first box, your first horror box, which this only applies to the horror box. A lifetime of free shipping if you are in the UK only. So, you know, this isn't an ad for them. I do get sent these books though for free, but they're not like paying me to make this video. These are gonna be all my thoughts, all my opinions. You know how I am. You know if I like a book or if I don't. But I thought we'd start with this one because I feel like a lot of people don't know about this book box, and it's got an interesting mix of like newer books that are really popular and books that I have never heard of. And I think that's really cool because I love reading books that no one talks about, which this whole vlog is about books that I've heard absolutely nothing about. So I think that'll be fun, and yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. So hopefully you like this idea. If you don't, okay. But hopefully you do, because I think it's gonna be really fun. So I would like to continue doing this and try to get books off of my TBR. You know, I have a large TBR. So with that being said, I'm gonna stop talking. We're gonna get into the reading and we're going to see what these books are like. I feel like I might be cursed with hating the first book I read in vlogs. Cause didn't I DNF? No, it was the second book, I think. Never mind. I don't know. I think I'm cursed though, because I've gotten 84 pages into Mothtown, and I've gone back and forth on if I wanted to DNF this or not. I almost said delete. Delete it from my brain. I've gone back and forth if I want to DNF. Part of me feels like I could read through this pretty quickly and I could give you all my thoughts and ratings and stuff like that. But I can guarantee you where I'm at now, this will come out no higher than a, I want to say a 3-star, but I think I'm being generous. I think this will get a 2-star. Like, I can't see this being any higher because I'm so uninterested and I don't like the plot or the writing. And I just feel like I don't want to waste time reading this book, even for a vlog. And I hate doing that because I really truly hate DNFing books in vlogs. But I don't know. There's something about this that I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but let me give you some let me give you some idea of what this book is about. So it is split into parts that are labeled before and after. Before and after what? I have no idea. I'm sure we would find that out if I kept reading. But the before chapters are talking about the main character, David, who I believe is, I think he's 10, and I'm 95% sure. Again, I'm really not far into this book, but I am pretty sure that he is like autistic of sorts. At least that's what it seems like the author is trying to convey in few words and just examples. I also think he's selectively mute. I don't know if that's correct, but he does not talk a lot. Like, he doesn't talk, and he has like a secret language that he speaks with his grandfather. It's like they make clicks like that, I think, and kind of like throaty like hums and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that means he's selectively mute, I think, because it doesn't seem, I don't know, it's, his parents have a very weird way of dealing with him, and it feels like they're kind of, I don't want to say angry, but they're like annoyed that he's not normal. They keep saying for him to like copy his older sister, because I'm assuming because she's normal, you know what I mean? Anyways, those are all just guesses. That's what I am inferring from what the author has given me so far. This hasn't been stated, I'm just assuming. But anyways, David's I think around 10, and he has a really special close relationship with his grandfather. There's also some really weird disappearances that are going on. Like, a lot of people are vanishing. People are like going door to door saying, have you seen my daughter? Have you seen my blah, 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 whatever. So it seems like this place is plagued with these disappearances, right? And they're not talking about it, but like it's brought up frequently. So it's just something that no one really acknowledges, I guess, at least not to David, because again, he is 10. So I'm assuming since we are following him, we're just not getting the full picture. But in the before, his grandfather, I think he's a scientist, and something's happened. I think he's in trouble, like people are mad at him. He's trying to look into something, we don't know. And so he ends up leaving town, going on some kind of exploration kind of thing. And then one day, David's parents sit him down and say, hey, Grandpa's dead. And he's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would Grandpa be dead? Because he just left and whatever. So his parents are telling him he's dead, but David doesn't believe he's dead. So I don't know if he's dead. I have no idea. But that's happening in the before. In the after, I'm assuming we're still following David because it's not giving us too much knowledge, but since David is the main character, I'm gonna assume he's still the main character in the after. And he's in the forest, or he's outdoors running from these people. These people are trying to get him, stop him, I don't know, and he's trying to find Mothtown. For what reason? I have no idea. I find the writing very flowery, and I don't typically have problems with flowery writing. It doesn't feel as much horror as I was expecting, at least in the first like 80 pages. Now, granted, I'm not, you know, this far in, so could it be more horror? Probably. But it does feel more lit-fic, especially in the writing with the flowery language. I find that sometimes with lit-fic and the flowery language, that the author is trying to use their words more than anything else, which, yes, but I feel like they don't want to make it too obvious, so they put in these similes and metaphors, and they don't want to say anything to your face, and it becomes very confusing. I'm not saying that books have to be so obvious. I'm not saying that, because there are some books where I like things to be hidden for the most part, and then at the end it's revealed that I'm like, whoa, that's crazy, I didn't expect it, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like there is a problem sometimes where that flowery language hinders it, because then you don't know what's happening. And I feel like I have no idea what's happening in this book. They keep referencing scientists doing something. Are the scientists connected to these disappearances? I don't know. Is this sci-fi? Maybe. I think it also said something about like a dystopia town or something like that. Is that what's happening? I don't know, because I can't figure out what's going on. It feels so discombobulated, and I think it's because we're following David. I'm assuming we're supposed to be as in the dark as David is, but I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to read. I'm not intrigued, and I thought I would be by the disappearances, but I think because they're not really telling you anything about anything. It's just kind of like bizarre stuff, but you're not getting explanation for the bizarre stuff. I don't know. Am I excited? Not really. Do I really want to know what happens? Not really. I feel like I could look up a review on Goodreads and read it and be like, spoil this whole thing for me. That'd be sick. And I would just like prefer that. I will say the book has some cool art in there, some like drawings, and that's fun. I think this is just a case of it's not my genres, it's not my kind of story, so therefore I'm not that excited. So I think I will DNF. I might look up a spoiler review and see what the ending's gonna be like. But I think I'm gonna put this down. Unfortunately, the first book is not for me. So I think the next one I'm gonna try is The Invisible Hotel by Yeji Y. Ham. This is on my 26 for 2026. This wasn't in the most recent A Box of Stories box, but it's been in one of the last ones I've had, and it's also on my 26 for 2026. This one intrigues me. It sounds like it's gonna be kind of like fever dreamy, which isn't always my favorite, but I want to give it a try, and I really like the cover. The cover is really cool. I don't know, it just sounds interesting. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I don't know anyone who's read it. So I feel like I just want to go into it and see what it's like. So I think this is the next one I'm going to try. Otherwise, I don't have anything planned for today. I'm just kind of gonna read. I think I might just kind of take it easy. Maybe do some like self-care eye patches and just relax while I watch little things on the TV and try to read this book. But otherwise, yeah, nothing much here. So hopefully I will have more to tell you and I won't DNF. Can you imagine if this was a vlog full of DNFs? Can you imagine? Oh no, what if I just jinxed myself? I hope not, but I guess we'll see. So I will check in shortly. Hello, jump scare. You can see my forehead, which I know is a new thing. I put a leave-in like scalp, what is it called? Like a scalp, like a scalp clarifying thing. I'm about to hop in the shower and I wanted to have time to leave this in, so I have to wait 10 minutes because I have a greasy, oily, nasty scalp and I need it to get clean. I just put that in, so that's why my hair looks, you know, the way it does. But I wanted to check in because I am almost done with the Invisible Hotel. I have read this really quick. It's a very fast read. Not a lot has happened. I feel like it's not a fast-paced, like intense, thrilling book, but it's just, it feels like nothing's happening. It feels almost like mundane, but there is stuff happening. It's just very, it's just on the quieter side. I definitely think going into this expecting like in-your-face horror is not what you should do. This is definitely more, I'd say more like lit fic-ish horror. There's a plane. Hello? You're interrupting me. Which is interesting because the last one felt lit fic as well, but yeah, I definitely don't think you should expect like a loud, like in your face abrasive kind of horror. This is definitely more like quiet, and it's more about like trauma and grief, and I know a lot of people really like horror like that, so I definitely think a lot of people will like this. We're following the main character who just got let go from her convenience store job, and she's kind of pulled in a lot of directions right now. She doesn't know if she's gonna go back to school. She doesn't know if she's gonna get another job. She's contemplating leaving her hometown. I believe it's called Dalbit. I could be saying it wrong, but it's a very small, more like village-esque type of area in South Korea, and she's grown up there and she feels like she wants to get away, right? She feels very stuck. She feels very closed in a direction. She feels like she can't make a decision. She has a lot, right? She could switch schools. She's thinking about going to Seoul. Her sister lives there. She's thinking about going to a different university. She's thinking about going to Australia. That's another thing. She's thinking about getting a job. Like, she has a lot of options, but she can't make a decision. Her brother is also in the army and he's stationed near North Korea. Her mom is very worried about her brother. She's constantly feeling like something's going to happen, and a big thing, a big reason why the main character wants to leave her hometown is her mom has the bathtub filled with their ancestral bones, and she's constantly cleaning them and praying to them to make sure that the younger brother is okay. It makes it hard to do normal things, right? She can't take a bath. She has to wash up in the sink because the bathtub is filled with these bones, and the bathtub is for the bones. So she's washing up in the sink and she feels like she can smell the smell all the time. It's embarrassing. It's also, it just makes her feel claustrophobic, and that's part of the reason why she wants to leave so badly, is she just wants to get out. She needs to like escape. Her sister is also going through her own stuff, and all while this is going on, our main character is having these visceral, bizarre, weird dreams. I would call them nightmares, honestly, because they're not really nice. They're pretty, I mean, they're not, they're a lot, right? Her dreams are about this hotel with all these rooms, and you get a lot of those kind of like dream sequences. So this book, to me, is all about grief and generational trauma, because there is a lot about the war, right? This war has been going on for a long time. It affects them. There is a part in the book where our main character is driving this woman to go visit her brother, and she learns that the woman is North Korean. She has such a hard time communicating with this woman because South and North Korea, they don't get along, right? They're in this locked war, and it affects how they interact with other people, it affects their daily lives, it affects their families, and you can see how the main character is struggling with the generational trauma. Like, she has all these options, right? But she can't make a choice because it keeps coming back to her mom, these bones, what she's supposed to do. Like, how is she supposed to make a decision? She has these choices, but she can't make one because she just doesn't know where to go from here. It feels like she has nowhere, but she has places. It's very hard. The family is also going through a loss. The dad, he recently, or I think recently, it hasn't really said how or why or when he passed, but they have lost their father, and it's obviously affecting the household. It's affecting their relationships with each other. She talks a lot about her relationship with her brother and how she just doesn't really have one, and it's really hard for them to communicate and hard for them to talk. I feel like a lot of this book, it's not that it's going over my head, it's just that I don't know a lot about South Korea and North Korea, and that's probably because I wasn't really taught a lot about North Korea and South Korea and their relationship and their war and their, you know, what's all happened. I don't really remember ever learning about that. So, I mean, that's on the education system. But I feel like if I had more knowledge, I think I would be able to make more connection. I feel like if you are Korean American or you're Korean, I think this would probably be like a super impactful read. Or even just Asian American, I feel like you could probably understand a lot of the, you know, generational trauma and the family bonds and stuff like that. I feel like you would get a lot from that. I just don't have the history knowledge that I should to understand some of like what's being discussed. But I feel like the trauma and the grief, it's very obvious. So, I mean, I feel like I'm not missing that. The dream sequences are really hard for me. I don't really get them. I don't know if they're going to make more sense when the book is done, but I'm not really a fan of dream sequences in movies or books anyways. I don't really like them. I feel like they're really confusing and they don't really add anything to it for me. Like the plot just, it doesn't help the plot for me. It just makes everything worse and more confusing. But that's also just like a me thing. So I don't really get the dreams. I think the dreams are going over my head. So I'm hoping I'll understand more when it ends. I mean, I don't have that much. Like, I don't have that much. As of right now, it's feeling like a 3, maybe a 3.5. But as of right now, that's where I'm at. That's how I'm feeling. So I'm gonna go take a shower and rinse out my head, obviously. I'm going to take a shower and finish this book, and then I will check in, tell you what I thought about the ending of this one, if I have any more thoughts, and then hopefully pick the next book that we will be reading. So I will see you all in a little bit. I am gonna give this a 3.25. I think there was stuff I really enjoyed. I think the writing's really well done, and it's hard for me to really enjoy a fever dream-esque type of story just because I feel like I don't really know what's going on, which I know a lot of people love. A lot of people love to be in the dark, and sometimes I do too. Like, The Last House on Needless Street. I loved not knowing what was going on in that book. Like, I loved being completely unsure, but I think that one didn't feel like a fever dream. It just didn't really make sense. Do you know what I mean? And I think I need something that's closer to like The Last House on Needless Street than something like super fever dream heavy. I'm still not sure if I understand the dreams in this book. I think I understand what the author was trying to do, but I could be wrong. Like, I could be really wrong. So I just don't love dream sequences. I don't know. There's something about them. It takes me away from the story, I think. It just makes it feel a little too like, ooh, and I'm like, whoa. So I didn't like absolutely love this, but I think the topics that this book handles are so well done. I think this book does a phenomenal job of showcasing the horrors of war and how it affects people and families, and I loved that aspect. And I think the generational trauma was really good and the grief was really good, and I actually really enjoyed the parts where we were just following the main character in life. Like, I like that mundane kind of plot, that slice of life kind of thing. I liked that. It does feel a little slow, so I think some people will be like, nothing's happening, because it's not like it's action-packed. It's not like a lot of stuff is happening. It's just, you're just following the main character's life and going through what she's going through. But I like that. I think what lost me was the fever dream aspects, and then the ending, I don't know if I understand the ending. I think those things went over my head, but I do think this is a really well done story, and I think that if you like books like Model Home by Rivers Solomon, and I'm trying to think of other examples, maybe The Eyes Are the Best Part, I feel like that one's a little bit more, maybe a bit more in-your-face horror, but not a lot. So I think if you like books like that, if you like books like those, I think you'll really enjoy this because it feels similar. Maybe a little bit more fever dreamy, but it feels similar in topics and what the authors are trying to like convey. So I think I would recommend it for people who like similar books. Talking about weird books, because I just went from a weird book to a weirder book. I think this is weirder. I mean, I could be wrong, but I am now I'm now reading Withered Hill by David Barnett. This is again one of the like older books that I've gotten from a box of stories from like a previous box, and I'm 94 pages in. This book is weird, mostly because of the timeline we're following. It's very disjointed, so if you like a very streamed, like flowing timeline that makes a lot of sense, I don't know if you're gonna like this because it's all over the place. So our main character is Sophie. She is 32, I believe, and her life isn't, I don't think she has a bad life. It's just not like a lot of other people in their 30s. So she doesn't have a full-time job. She does like temp work, and her friends are all kind of drifting away from her because they're doing other things. They're getting married, they're getting pregnant, they're moving away, and she just doesn't fit in that mold. She's just kind of, I feel like she's kind of still living like she's in her 20s, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I think she feels like her life is stuck and everyone's moving past her. So that's Sophie. She also kind of has a drinking problem. She drinks a lot, which I know is not everyone's favorite trait of a main character. I'm not the biggest fan of it either, just because it's so overdone. Everyone always has to be like an alcoholic, so I guess it just makes them unreliable and that's it. So that's why people do it. But anyways, so our girl Sophie, she ends up in this town, village, whatever you want to call it, Withered Hill, okay? And when she ends up there, she is naked, she is muddy, she's got sticks in her hair, she just like crawled out of the ground from the forest, basically. She looks like a hot mess. And she ends up in Withered Hill. She doesn't really remember anything. And these people in animal masks guide her to Withered Hill, like into the center. And she is stuck there, I guess. They keep saying that she'll be able to leave when she's able to leave, like she's here for a reason, but they're not telling her anything. And so our timeline is you get a countdown of her before she enters Withered Hill. So it's called like outside, and those are like the outside days, right? Outside of Withered Hill. And it's a countdown, like 12 days till Withered Hill, 8 days, 9 days, yada, 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 right? And then you get inside, which are her times inside Withered Hill. And you get day 1, and then it'll jump to like day 365, day 45, like it's jumping around. So you get bits and pieces of her first day in Withered Hill, how she, well, not how she got there, but how she found herself inside of Withered Hill, what's leading up to her getting to Withered Hill, I'm assuming. Hopefully we get answers, because this is very weird. And then in Withered Hill, like how she's interacting with characters, like festivals there, that kind of thing. It's bizarre. This is bizarre. It's such a weird book. I initially picked it because of the rabbit. Oh, sorry. I think it's a hare, because they keep talking about hares. So I think it's actually a hare head, not a rabbit. But I like how it's made out of like twigs and stuff. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but that just looked cool. So I was like, oh, I'll read this. This is a weird book. So weird. I'm intrigued though. Like, it has my attention. I'm wanting to find out, like, what is Withered Hill? How did she actually get here? Like, what happened to her on the outside? Did something trigger her to go there? Is this all in her mind? That could be a possibility. I mean, honestly, I never doubt an author could take it down the route of it's all in her head, so it could be that. I mean, I don't know, to be honest. I actually don't have any thoughts, but it's kind of interesting. I kind of like the jagged up and down timeline. It makes it kind of intriguing. I feel like a lot of people will hate it because it's not in a chronological time, but it's fun. I don't know how I don't know if I care about the character herself. There's also a lot of like sex in here. Like, our main character will get drunk and then like have sex with men and like not remember it. We don't get the actual sex scenes, but it's just like she'll wake up and be like, oh, don't remember that. And like, even in Withered Hill, they're very like sexually outspoken, I guess. They don't shy away from that kind of talk, and her best friend has a lot of sex in Withered Hill, so that's interesting. I don't know if it has a really big part to play, or if it's just like the author wanting to have people have sex. I'm not sure. So yeah, this is a very bizarre book. I don't know if I've actually read anything like it. So I mean, it's reading fast. It's kind of fun. And I don't want to jinx myself, but I feel like I might actually like this, depending on how everything comes together. If everything comes together and it's just like, then I might get annoyed. But so far, I'm okay with it. So far, I'm okay. But it is Saturday. Justin and I are going to have a rot day, because that's what we do on the weekends. I actually have to do some other stuff too, which I'm kind of annoyed by. But Saturdays are always our rot days that we spend together, just like in bed relaxing, because I mean, he works all week and we barely see each other during the week, and so we like to just relax in bed. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'll keep reading, and hopefully I will have an update when I have finished. Hello! Do we like the new background? Oh, you can see my ring light reflected. That is so annoying. Okay, do we like the new background? I just posted, well, yeah, it'll be posted before this video. I just posted a organization library clean with me kind of video, and I have a new desk set up. It's actually clean in here. I'm so excited. So go check that out if you want to see me clean this room and get organized. But I'm so excited. I want to film videos like using this background more because it has like all my Silent Hill stuff. Oh my god, it's so cute. I'm obsessed with it. Anyways, I forgot why I was filming. Oh, I have to do an update. I forgot what video I was filming for a second. That's crazy. Okay, so I finished Withered Hill, and oh, it was so promising in the beginning. Like, so promising. You remember how excited I was when I came on here? So I think I was only around 80-ish pages into the book, and I was so intrigued. I liked the disjointed timeline. I liked how it wasn't just a straightforward, seamless, like, day 1, day 2, day 3. Like, I liked it kind of bouncing me around, right? I feel like it became too repetitive, right? It took too long to get to the nitty-gritty, like to get to what was going on in this book. So I almost feel like this would be better as a novella. Like, it's, how long was this book in general? 358. Oh yeah, that's really long, actually. I feel like if we had maybe only like 200 pages, like if we had cut this much, or like even like this much, I feel like it would have gone by faster and it would have been more impactful to read. It just got really tiresome, and it felt like it was taking so long to get to the meat that I was like, okay, now I'm disinterested. You're taking me too long. You're stringing me along. Like, I'm ready now. Like, you had me hooked, and then you lost me because you took too long to get there. This is folk horror. I think a lot of people will like the twist at the end. It kind of reminds me of Midsummer, the A24. I always say A24, but I don't think that's what everyone else says. I think it's A24. I just say A24. It reminds me of that movie, Midsummer. There's some similarities there that I think a lot of people will like. But again, I think maybe because visually Midsummer is so, I mean, it's beautiful, but it's so lulling. It's so visually appealing. It's mesmerizing. It's a beautiful movie mixed with the horrific elements that I think it works better. Whereas this book, it becomes too monotonous. Do you know what I'm saying? I think maybe a movie version of this would be better, but I think because you're reading the same thing over and over and over again, and it's too much. But I do think a lot of people will like this. I feel like there's an unnecessary amount of sex, or like, not even, like, it's not sexual. Like, you don't see sex scenes. That's the thing. It's not overtly sexual in the sense of you're seeing them actually have sex. It's just, it's talked about so much. Oh, you're so attractive. So many people are gonna wanna, like, get you in bed. Or XYZ is talking about sex. Or, oh, they want to have sex. Like, it's just the mentions of sex, and I'm like, what does, I mean, like, I don't really think there was a point. I don't really know why the author felt that it was, like, really necessary to, like, have that be included. The twist ending, I didn't see it coming, but I wasn't, like, flabbergasted by it. It's not like when it was revealed, I was like, oh my gosh, I never would have expected it. It's just more like, oh, that's what we're doing? Okay. I mean, it's not what I expected, but I thought it was gonna be something, I don't know, bigger, I guess. Like, I'm not saying that it's not a big twist, it's just kind of like, oh. I would have liked it maybe if it had gone in a different direction. I don't know. But it was fine. It was fine. I wish it had really kept the feelings that I'd had for the first like 80 pages because I was so in. I was so in. And then it just lost me. But yeah, I can see a lot of people enjoying this. I think it's not badly written. I think Sophie is a stereotypical like horror thriller character, you know, drinks too much, doesn't have her life together, She's living an unconventional life. She's not a grown-up. She needs to like get with the program. She has some secrets. I mean, she's not a likable character. There's supposed to be a point for that, but I mean, like, I figured it out pretty, oh my gosh. I figured it out pretty early that, like, what her secrets were. I didn't think they were that, like, shocking. But yeah, I would give it, like, a 3. I'm not mad I read it, but I think it could have been better. So, yeah, it was fine. Disappointing, though. Disappointing. So, for our last book, I decided to go with The Redemption of Morgan Bright by Chris Panettiere. I think this was in the very first box of stories. I think this was in the very first A Box of Stories box I unboxed. A box, unbox, blah, blah, blah. But I've had it on my TBR for a bit, and it intrigued me because the plot seems similar to The Clinic by Kate Quinn. That thriller, if you've read that, it kind of feels familiar. And honestly, if I had not read the back of the book before I started reading it, I would have no idea what's going on. Because the back of the book explanation and the book itself feel like 7,000 different things. It's very weird. So we're following Morgan, our main character, who blames herself for her sister's death. So her sister was in the Hollyhock Asylum. So this takes place in an asylum, okay? And I guess she dies on the road from the asylum. Like, I don't know if she was running away. I don't know if she had been let go. I don't know, but she dies. So Morgan assumes the identity of, what's her name? Charlotte Turner, who's a housewife, a troubled housewife, who has been put in the institution because she has what's it called? Domestic psychosis is what they call it. I guess she's gonna quickly discover that the asylum is messed up, things are weird, and it also says on the back that the persona of Charlotte takes on a life of its own, becoming stronger with each passing day. So she's trying to uncover what happened to her sister, but I guess the alternate persona that she's taken on is going to come to life. It kind of reminds me of that Stephen King, what's that Stephen King book? Oh my gosh, it's pouring rain. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear that. So loud, oh my gosh. Anyways, so the format's fun. There are interviews with police, there are text messages, like transcripts, that kind of thing. And it's going by fast so far because I'm like 90 some pages in. I'm not super compelled right now. I'm not obsessed. I'm not like dying overly like, oh my god, I have to read and pick up this book right this second. So it does look like it's gonna be quick though because of the chapters being fairly fast and all the transcripts, text messages, yada yada yada. So I'm hoping I like it more than I think I am going to, but right now I'm just kind of like, okay. It does say on the back that this is horror / fantasy, so I'm assuming there's gonna be some like big weird bizarre kind of like fantastical elements, perhaps, I'm assuming. But yeah, as of right now, I'm like mildly intrigued. I'm not mad at it, but I feel like my emotions are more neutral than anything. But I am going to read this and hopefully finish it quick, because honestly, I don't want to be stuck reading this. I want to read something else already. That's the thing. I kind of like would like to pick up something else instead of this. I'm not like drawn to this, and I want to read something more fun. So I'm kind of hoping this goes by quick. But yeah, I will update you all hopefully when I finish and I have actual thoughts and feelings, because I feel like I'm not telling you much, but hopefully I'll have something and we can chit chat a bit more about this. Let's chat, friends. I finished this, and I have to say my favorite thing about this book, okay? Well, there are two things that I actually really liked about this book. One, the book reads really, really quickly, and I don't mean that the plot is fast-paced. I just mean that the chapters are pretty short, and it doesn't take long to be done with this book. Like, it just reads really fast, which I love. And also, because I didn't have a great experience with this book, I think that's why I didn't DNF it. Well, okay, I didn't DNF it because I DNF'd the first book in this vlog, but also because it was fast, I felt like I could read it really quickly. And I don't know, like when I can read a book really fast, I feel like, oh, don't DNF it because you'll be done really, really quick, or I don't know. Okay. Anyways, that's one thing that I really liked about this book. The second thing, like, look. Look at how long chapter 10 is. Love. The other thing that I love is the inclusion of text messages and interview transcriptions. I tried to say transactions. Interview transcriptions and the text messages, I feel like, make the book a little bit more fun to read. I preferred the transcriptions because I felt like I was actually getting the most information from them. Like, the actual chapters were so confusing and so hard to follow. This plot feels all over the place. I understand what this author was trying to do. I understand what this author is trying to write about. He has an author's note, and I like what he's trying to say. I think it's an important topic. He's obviously discussing women's bodily autonomy and you know, healthcare around women and abortion and forced birth, and it's I think it's important because a lot of people don't listen to women when we talk about things. So I do think it is beneficial when men also stand up and voice things for women, because unfortunately, due to the patriarchy, men listen to other men. So they're not going to listen to us. So it is helpful when men are trying to help raise attention to those topics, because sadly sometimes men will only listen to other men. I think that this is a good idea. I think the execution is just very, very, very poor. I think the plot is so confusing. I think nothing really makes sense. I still don't really quite get everything. I was kind of bored because it was confusing. I feel like my brain was kind of just detached, and I was reading to read, not reading and comprehending. Like, you know when you're reading a book and you're just reading, you're not really taking it in, you're just kind of like, okay, where's the end? Let's get to it. It was more like that, which I hate. I don't like when I feel like I'm not connected and really engaged and locked in like that. So it was unfortunate, but I just think that the plot is, it's too much. It doesn't make sense. It was very hard to follow, and like I said, I relied heavily on the transcripts to really get any information out. The other thing, the writing is very clunky. The writing feels like words, like just words, like words being put into sentences, but not necessarily actually saying anything, if that makes sense. And I do feel like some of the word choice was really bizarre, and I mean that in, it felt like the author pulled out a dictionary, looked up a word, and was like, I'm gonna use that because no one uses it. Like, no one's gonna know what these words mean, but then I'm gonna repetitively use them over and over again. And it was a bizarre choice. And I'm all for people expanding vocabulary, and I think it's important. I definitely learn new words all the time from reading, but this didn't feel like someone trying to help the vocabulary. This felt like, I'm gonna use this really obscure word that no one's gonna know, and I'm gonna keep saying it, and I'm just gonna make the reader really, really confused. That's what it felt like to me. The plot, like the bare bones plot of the main character taking on this character to go into this psychiatric institution to figure out what happened to her sister. I mean, it's not a new plot. I've seen it a lot. Like I said, it kind of reminded me of Kate Quinn's The Clinic when I first started reading. I think this could have been written differently and in a better way. That's just my opinion, and the ending was just kind of like, ew. I didn't really like the ending at all. So I have to give the author props for what he is trying to convey with this story, but I don't think it worked. So I am giving this 2 stars. So unfortunately, we are ending on a not so great note. I do feel like this video was actually kind of, in terms of ratings, I didn't have the best time with these books, but that is the risk you take when you're not picking the books that you get in subscriptions, which I think is fun. I think it adds to the like thrill of getting a subscription box, and I appreciate that a box of stories includes books that I've never heard of and I don't know anything about, because the 4 books that we tried in this video I had never heard of before. I haven't heard anyone talking about, and I like that. I like being introduced to books that I don't see often and I don't hear about, so I think it's really cool. It sucks that they didn't all work for me. I will say that the best one, I think I'm gonna say, was The Invisible Hotel. I think that was my favorite from the vlog. I feel like that would be the one that I would recommend the most. But I definitely think if any of these sound like they're up your alley, you know, check them out from the library or Libby if they're on there. I'm pretty sure this one's on Libby. I looked. So, you know, it's always a chance to try something new, so that was fun. I really hope you like this trying books from subscription boxes idea. I'd love to continue reading horror books from other subscription boxes like Aardvark, Evernight. I think Owl Crate also does horror. I would love to try a bunch and just see how they turn out. So if you really like this idea and you want to see me continue it, because I would like to turn this into a series, if it goes over well, I will definitely be continuing. So let me know in the comments if there is a subscription box that you would like me to check out, or if I'm already subscribed, then I can just start filming that vlog. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. Let's have a little chit chat. If you've read any of these books or you added them to your TBR, I would love to hear that as well. Subscribe, you know the drill. And with that being said, I hope you're having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!